Your hunt.
Everybody has them, I think.
We'll call this meeting to order, guys. Terry, would you open us up in prayer, please?
Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for all the blessings that you have bestowed upon us. Keep us safe, dear Lord. Be with those who have lost loved ones. Be with those who are sick. Dear Lord, bless this great country and this great county. Amen.
I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye. The approval of the minutes, I had one thing to add to that or to change, and I want to ask if it's correct. You were here at the last meeting of this in February, right? You were just late.
Yes.
So it's written on there that Jamie Teachner was absent from the meeting. If you could just scratch that and correct it. No, you were.
No, you were late.
You were just late to the meeting, so that's probably why she wrote it down that way. And I just want to get that corrected for the record. Was there any other changes that anybody else saw that need to be done? If not,
Most corrections.
Second.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, with that approval of the correct, you said with approval of correction, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Now we'll open us up for public recognition, and the only person on here is Mike McClard.
Mike McClard, 102 Tioga Trail, Hendersonville. I know at 90 degrees, this is probably not the time to be talking about this, but I will anyway, because I hadn't been able to get to a meeting since we had bad weather. Back during the winter, Mr. Ellis's department, I thought, did a great job. They kept the streets, the roads clean, and I just wanted you to know I appreciate everything you've done, especially over around Hunters with all the signage and everything that you've done. It's made it a lot safer, and with the sheriff helping out with getting the traffic all done. Proud of you, and thanks very much. Appreciate it.
With that, we'll move to the report of the chair. I'm just going to read my report. It took a bit of time to write this out. Some things have just been on my mind. I'm sure that you all have read my numerous emails about last month's meeting that was canceled. You probably picked up on the level of frustration. Since then, I've talked with Superintendent Ellis and plan to continue the conversation about how to move forward with mutual respect between his office and the elected officials of this committee. Being the chairman of the Highway Committee is both an honor and a duty to report to the people. The purpose of a report can be to provide a summary of our efforts, but it can also be to share respectfully and candidly some of the challenges that have arisen, particularly regarding the coordination and communication between the Highway Committee and the Office of the Road Superintendent. Sumner County government, like any local government, operates best when each official and department understands and respects the structure and roles that the people have put in place. The County Commission is the legislative body of this county. Its members are elected by the people to set policy, oversee budgets, and ensure that public funds are spent wisely, transparently, and in a manner that reflects the will and needs of our citizens. The Highway Committee exists to support this mission by overseeing matters related to county roads, bridges, and related infrastructure. We're tasked with working alongside the road superintendent to evaluate needs, review projects, approve funding recommendations, and ensure that the transportation infrastructure is serving the people effectively. However, it has become increasingly concerning that the road superintendent has not consistently acknowledged or respected the oversight role of this committee, specifically when I, as chairman, have formally requested that items be placed on the meeting agenda. Items of clear public and administrative importance, those requests have been ignored or dismissed. This is a breakdown in the basic expectations of cooperation and transparency that must exist between a department and the people's representatives for good governance to occur. The agenda is a tool for accountability and discussion. When legitimate items are excluded without justification, it undermines not only the role of the committee, but the voice of the citizens we represent. The citizens deserve a government that works together in service to their needs. Infrastructure decisions, what roads get paved, which bridges get repaired, where safety improvements are made, must be grounded in planning, fiscal responsibility, and broad accountability. That process must involve not only the expertise of the highway department, which does a fine job, but the oversight and input of the elected county commissioners. This committee has consistently worked in good faith to fulfill our responsibility. We've spoken with constituents, recognized needs, and advocated for improvements that reflect the real needs of the communities we serve. We will continue to do that. And we will continue to insist that all county officials operate in accordance with the roles that the people have assigned them. Our goal is not conflict, but cooperation. I want a healthy, functional, working relationship with the highway department and the road superintendent's office. One that is built on mutual respect and shared responsibility. For the good of Sumner County, we should continue to push for more effective communication and the proper involvement of elected commissioners. The mayor talks to people, the road superintendent talks to people, and every commissioner talks to people. All of our points have some level of validity and should be considered. That's what this committee is for. Remember, we were all elected and we are all here to serve the citizens of Sumner County. On a separate note, I'd like to address an issue that has been brought forth by a citizen. It seems there is some unclear language on the county website regarding brush, limb, and debris removal, particularly the amount that is allowable. I'm sure citizens that live in the unincorporated areas appreciate Mr. Ellis bringing back the debris removal as a courtesy, but there is no amount stated as to what is allowable. There is a particular instance where there was an extreme amount of tree damage on several properties. The person coordinated with the highway department about where to place the debris for pickup and followed all the rules, and then made the phone call that was ready for pickup. When the crew got there, there was an extreme amount of debris, unlike they had ever seen or prepared for. There's some disagreement on whether or not this was fulfilling the policy that was put on the county website, in particular because the policy says that a professional tree cutting service can't come in and cut all your trees and then pile it all by the roadside for the county to take care of. Of course, that would not be fair. I mean, you're paying them to do a job and they should haul it off. What I'm hearing from the citizen is that they basically had a yard cutting guy that came in and helped them do their things, and if it had been a citizen-led effort because of tornadoes, and this was like a tornadic event or strong wind event that caused this, and the community got together and helped them pile it all there, that wouldn't be professional either. And so it leaves a hole in there for debate on what's going to get removed and what is not. And my suggestion would just be to put a limit, 2 truckloads, 4 truckloads, whatever, of what is going to be allowed. And that would just be my recommendation. It's not a vote on item, but I've talked to, a few people, and it could be easily fixed with just some terminology changing on the website to handle that. But until then, you got people that may feel slighted because they did everything that was required for the policy in their eyes, and then made the phone call and never mentioned how much the amount was because they didn't think it was valid, not important. It didn't say to ask how much is there. So now the citizens left with having to move it again off of the road to take care of on their own, and possibly do it with a burn permit with a large subdivision behind their properties. And then to kind of explain a little bit further, there's like 10 or 12 properties that this one person owns, and they pay 10 or 12 individual property taxes on it. So do they get the service of 10 or 12 people if they're paying 10 or 12 different property taxes? I don't know. I mean, that's a discussion to be had, not for this committee, but you can understand the confusion or frustration that may be there. But on the other hand, I understand Mr. Ellis's point that you got to draw the line somewhere. We could be out there for days just servicing somebody when it's meant to be a courtesy. So that's why I just would like to throw it out there as a suggestion to maybe tighten up the language on the county website where this doesn't happen to somebody else. That's my 2 cents for it. With that, I'll close chairman comments. We can discuss anything if you want to, but I don't know if there's anything I want to discuss further. And we'll move on to the report of the road superintendent. Go ahead, Mr. Ellis.
Just to clarify a few things, the lady in question, nice lady, she never did reach out to the highway department. She reached out to 4 different commissioners, maybe 5, but I can't figure out who the 5th one is, but I know the 4 that she talked to. And when I contacted her, she did contact me. I said, have you looked at my website about this? And you know, when there's somebody that goes in and cuts it, you know, anybody that owns a 40-acre farm burns their brush on the farm. I've never had somebody with that much land want the county at their expense to haul off their material. That's something that's an easy fix. They just cut it up and burn the brush pile. And you can call it a contractor, you can call it landscaper. The same guy that cut it up on our farm hauled every bit of it away. And so he cut it up and loaded it on dump trailers and then hauled it onto the right of way. And she had 2 properties. I don't know of any other properties she owns. And we went out there for 2 days and hauled off. And finally my guy called me. He said, I've gotten 6 or 7 loads and there's at least 20 something loads left. And I said, no, wait a minute, you can't do that. We're not set up for that. I brought the brush truck back to be a service to the county, and we're in the middle of having a storm, and we've got hundreds of loads of brush all over the county. We've already spent 2 days hauling this on. And what I have on the website is general, but it's not, you know, if somebody is doing something that, why did she call me? She did say she looked at the website. I think, you know, I'm not accusing her. I'm just saying she should have just hauled it on away, and that's what it says on the website. And the things of this nature is that I already did enough for her. And she says, well, Mr. Ellis, that's going to cost me a lot of money. I said, well, ma'am, it's going to cost the county a lot of money. We're not set up for that. And I said, I've got hundreds of citizens across the county waiting on us to get there. And I said, right now we're hauling, you know, we work 4 10s. And I said, we've got people coming in working on comp time to haul on Fridays and Saturdays just trying to catch up. I said, we cannot afford to stay another week and a half cleaning something up that you should have hauled off or burned on your farm. I said, I've never had that situation, and I doubt I ever will again. And so I told her to have a nice day, and I understood. I said, I know this is not information that you're appreciative of. You probably don't like me much right now, but it's something that I have to keep the truck going. You know, we have literally probably, it's a big truck. It takes several pickups to fill it up. You know, we usually when we go out, it's a partial load here. It takes 4 or 5 stops to fill it up. And it took 2 days to haul out 6 full loads. So it was a situation that I'm the kind of guy that likes to take care of everybody, and I felt like I was more than fair, but I think there was a reason why she didn't call us and ask to do it to begin with. And I hate that the verbiage on the website, yeah, could it be tidied up? But it's something that if somebody was trying to do something extreme, no, it's not built for that. But I've hauled off, we've probably hauled out 3,000 or 4,000 loads since I've been in office. And that's a good thing, right? That wasn't happening before. We brought that back, and I'm proud of that. But it's something that it's a situation to where the neighbors were upset about it. They felt like the line was crossed, and they felt like that was taking advantage of the county as well. So that's.
Well, we do know that was a special event. I mean, it wasn't like they decided just to go cut trees. They had damage they had to pick up and do something with. And how did you guys know to go out there? How did you even know that was there?
Commissioner Shove called me, and Commissioner Ben Harris called me, and asked me, said they had a constituent that had some brush, which that's a normal situation sometimes. Somebody don't know who to call, right? And we went out there, and it was very lengthy. One whole road was full on one side and turned up the other side. And she owned that property or two right there where it was all in the right of way. So
I was told there's 10 properties that are back there. There's 10
she's got 40 acres, and then she owns a house on the
property
corner.
tax bills that they pay for. And
And here's the thing, it's
too.
pretty easy to understand. If you have to hire somebody to cut it and load it, haul it on the dump trailer, haul it off, and then they haul it out of the estate and then dump it on our right of way, that's taking advantage of the county.
Well, you could read it that way, or you could say I operate within the parameters of the statements that are on the county website, which is why my suggestion was just tighten up the language. It would avoid all instances of this in the future from happening if it was more clear. I don't ever want to say somebody's purposely taking advantage of something. I'm hearing one side of the story, I hear yours. I have compassion for both because you got a lot of responsibilities throughout the county. I get it. But they're saying, hey, they set the rules, I'm living by them, and they've read the rules. If you could tighten up the rules, are you just saying you won't do it, or you'll think about doing it, or?
I'll take it under advisement.
Okay. That's just my opinion that could probably be fixed.
We have a presentation. We do. I'm real excited to have Tony with Collier Engineering come up. And I think everything's here. Tony, I called IT to see. I think they've got the line that you can hook up to your computer.
Where do you want to operate from? You can sit in that seat and pull downward. I can pull this cord to you. I just sit on that and.
While Tony is hooking up, I will talk about the state aid projects that Tim, while Tony's hooking up, we will talk. The next item was the state aid projects. I wanted to let y'all know we are starting this coming week on our first state aid project this year. It's Bug Hollow Road. It's 4.25 miles, and we'll be starting on it probably in a couple days to overlay, and that's going from Highway 25 to Scotty Parker Road. I'm real excited. That was a really bad road. We've done a lot of repairs on it. And of course, we're set up with the state aid to get 98 cents on the dollar. I've just got to do a good job, go in there and get the key joints done and get it paved and striped. So the next state aid road will be Dink Rut Road, 0.79 miles. And it goes from Halltown to Highway 76. It's considered a state aid road as well. And so we're going to get both of those jobs completed before July 1st. And then after July 1st, we'll be working on Corinth Road and South Tunnel Road, which is almost 6 miles of state aid road. And the funding for that is set up much the same way. And we have crews working on Corinth, doing some work. Dink Rut is almost done, and we've already took out all the culverts on South Tunnel Road and replaced them, and they're in good shape now. But that will be after July 1st. Tony, are you? I think it's HD4 right there.
Some potholes that used to be on I-24, right?
I stand. I don't know why people want to sit down. Yeah. I can see what they. Afternoon, Commission. Mr. Ellis asked me to come here and kind of talk to you about what this is. There was a discussion on it in the last meeting. It's part of the SS4A and then the PCI. So this is the PCI portion. So we want to show you guys what this information does, how you can use it, and how the county can benefit from it. Also answer some of the questions that were lingering from the last meeting and just give you guys the information that you're looking for. So this is an example data set from, I'll say this is DeKalb County. So the process is we drove through all of the county, every county maintained road, and gathered the information. Now the gathering of the information is using LiDAR scanning and 360 cameras and multiple 2D cameras on the front and the rear to assess the roadway condition. And then running it through AI to get the overall condition of the roadway. So in that process, we're able to let them know the condition of the roads. And how this helps them is obviously with budgeting is the big ticket of being able to figure out what they need to spend on roads, where they're at. If they're spending X amount of dollars now, what is it going to do over a span of time? So on this is just the roads. Now there's a lot of extra additional bells and whistles that we can just kind of show real quick that come along with it. We can dive in and see different severities. So this is just low severity issues along the roadway. This is just connected to my phone, so we'll let it kind of pull in.
How's it differentiating between county roads and other roads?
So we upload the data set through shapefiles, the GIS. So all this information, every bit of this data can be put into your own GIS as well. However you want to manage it, store it, it's your data. Once we collect it, we can pass it off to you. You don't even have to use the software. You can use whatever software you decide. We just find with this software, it's the easiest, most user-friendly. We're able to educate the staff on how to make updates. And Collier, we could walk away, teach your staff on how to use it, and you don't need us anymore.
So I didn't really mean like the technicalities of how, but like right now, see all the roads on there?
Correct.
And
So
these are state roads, like you have a filter that we just look at Howard County only? Okay.
So, yes, and then what I was trying to pull in are these low severity, different cracks.
So you can filter it all the way down to different grades, okay.
Yes, gotcha. So, and you can even, so that's showing just overall. So the overall condition is based on this one here, which is the detailed. Now you can see like it's showing each spot. So along the road, you might have some that ranges based on the ledge on the right-hand side, but that's just the overall condition of the road. So it just takes it as an average. Looks like it's loading in some, but now it's starting to load in. Like I said, it's just working off my phone.
While it's loading, that's another question.
Yes,
That was one road, multiple colors all the way down the road, so it's showing the different severities throughout the road. How do you know whether to repair the road or replace the road? How do you,
So
does the superintendent then make that decision on which course, because there's a lot of bad with a lot of good.
correct. So there's a couple on this. We create the asset management plan. Let's say, so we put in repair priorities. So if this is, it's based on crack seal, based on condition, based on surface type. From there, you go to your decision-making tree. We want to base it on, so for this example, these are the factors that we're basing it on and how much we weighted. PCI, functional class, area, and addresses. Functional class is, what does the road do? Is it just service the local resident road? Is it a major minor collector? Or addresses. The reason why we brought in addresses is because this affects a lot of the counties. You can have a 5-mile stretch of road with 3 houses on it, and then have a 5-mile stretch of road that has 20 houses on it. The one that has 3 houses might be a little worse than PCI, but the one to the other side, you might want to fix first because the level of serviceability. More vehicles travel this road. So it's going to wear faster, it's going to go down quicker than the one left. That's why we added addresses. But all together, we put together what's called a decision-making tree. So we tell this system to look for this PCI range, and anything within this PCI range, this surface type, recommend this fix, and in what years to recommend, and to proceed from there. So that's how it knows. It's based on that. Based on the average of the road. So where you saw one road would just be green or just all yellow, just all orange, but then you also saw the breakdown on where there's sections. That's where it can help Mr. Ellis say, okay, this road overall is good, but there's sections here that are poor. Maybe we go out and just do point repairs to make the road a little bit better until the whole road really needs to be done. Because it doesn't make sense. Most people wouldn't like to see half the road get done, brand new pavement, and the other half not. But if the other half of the road has another 10 years of life on it, do you want to spend the money to rip it up and replace it? Instead, come back, do the half, do point repairs, just to bring it up to give it a little bit more comfort and time until the whole road needs to be done. Yes, sir.
I noticed on the first one, that first image you had up, there were several breaks. Was that just a loading issue, like the very, very first one? The pavement maintenance one? Click on that one. Go to the very. Oh, it might be that one. Look at that. You're right.
Yes, it's just a loading issue. There's no,
Like pull back, so, like look over here to the left. Okay, right there, see the 53?
yes.
What kind of change? So look, this is the, so is there some reason that like the county?
That's the county map. So,
Like, I know, you know what I mean, like, why
Yes.
is there a road, you know, why,
One section of it may be county, and then the cities take over. another
right, it
section.
could be incorporated, unincorporated.
I understand, so like this little bitty dot,
It
is
could
the
be,
spot where it goes in and out.
it could be private. It could be a section that then goes to unpaved road. And with the county, it could be multiple reasons.
The caps, more rural.
I just didn't know if that was, you know, I understand that issue, but just, that seems like an odd.
Tell me, what county is that?
The county,
So that basically is every county road.
the county.
Yeah.
How would this software differentiate between, say, a Gallatin type road versus the county versus Hendersonville? Does that software have that potential if that is fed into it? Does that make sense?
You mean to make sure you only get the road from the county?
Correct, versus a state road versus the city of Hendersonville.
So we'll
Portland.
get your road list and put it into a shapefile, GIS shapefile, and load it in. So the only roads that will populate are county maintained roads. That's all you will see.
Every road that's highlighted on that map is a county road. And then if Tony zones in on it, the color coordination by the chart is the rating on that road at a high level. Of course, he can zone in on it and click on that road. And then you can see the different colors, like the orange. The red is bad. That little short road down there,
Right.
that's a bad road.
So you're physically driving these roads with LiDAR and some other sensors on a vehicle, correct? Is it something where this vehicle's out there anyway and you strap the device to it and it's driving around as a byproduct of being there and doing other things, it's also catching this data, or is it like purposely driving all these roads for me, the county, like your employee to go do that?
If that vehicle's out here with that on there, it's because you asked us to come and do it.
Okay, so in order to get to, I have a question. In order to get to certain roads, you're crossing other roads, you're crossing city streets, you're crossing state routes and things like that to go find these highways. Is this something where it'd be beneficial to partner with any cities within our county that want to get theirs mapped as well, or is there not much of value added by doing that because you're going to charge them that much more, even though you're already driving these roads? Or can they benefit from us doing this to where it'd be worth us talking to the cities about joining in with this? It seems like you're already going to be out there driving across these roads, lots of them, going from city to city, getting all the county roads in between.
That could be a discussion we had. I will say with this, Mr. Ellis is going, applying for the SS4A grant, and this is part of it. So you're already only paying 20% of the cost of this, which this would, rough numbers, probably cost $320. You're only doing 64,000. That's all you have to pay.
320,000.
And the thing is, the state aid, we can get some money from the state aid because 15 to 20% of our roads are state aid. I've already talked to the state, and that portion, it would be okay to use the state aid monies for this. So that would even take down our percentage.
Is that a one-time expense or recurring cost? How much is it annually? Or?
So that's one time. You'll have all this for one time. Now,
How long does that information last?
the information itself will last forever, but
The
how
roads will be very
current,
long.
how good it will be,
Long.
I would say 5 years is about when you want to run it again. It gives you, lets you know that 5-year information. It starts putting together historical data for your roads. It's not all roads were the same. Traffic affects the road condition, weather, depending on how it's hit by the sun. There's a lot of variables. There's a deterioration curve for asphalt, but that's just kind of a general. This will tell you exactly, you start building that historical data to really know your road's life cycle and be able to make well-informed decisions.
But it is something we would have to budget for, whether it be 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, whatever, however often we do the cycling of it, it will be something we budget for. If that's the way we would go with mapping our roads or whatever.
Yes.
Questions. I like the technology, but just speaking, I'm just trying to figure out how this is going to keep us fiscally conservative, because I can see this being a wide open situation. So what I'm curious about is, if you say every 5 years, okay, so do you have the ability in the county, is it handed over to the county, for us to go in without an extra expense in the case of a winter ice storm like we had not that long ago, or flooding, where your road literally, like we had roads that went off into fields, like salt pavements.
You want to update it in real time as
Are
damage happens.
Are you able to go in and say, okay, from this area to this area is gone, and Mr. Ellis can update that, or whomever is.
Like the data became
So-
old at that point.
That's something we pay you to do.
I would say there's a couple layers to answer your question. So I'll start with the beginning. Then you're kind of addressing you're getting very granular in the data. I personally wouldn't put a road getting washed out into this, because I imagine you're going to be fixing it. So you're going to take the time to say this section's gone when
Good point.
3 weeks later, okay, it's back in, change it back.
Good point.
So that's one I wouldn't do. Two,
Still, that's a good answer. That's a good answer. Like what, I understand what you're saying about that. But the next question I was gonna have is that, but go keep going.
To ultimately will educate your staff on how to do it themselves. So you don't need us. We'll teach them. It's fairly simple, straightforward. It's one of those things, obviously, the more you use it, the more you click around in it, the smoother you run through it.
How to do the upgrades or downgrades and as
How to run
during that
projects,
5-year.
how to teach them how to do everything. Just to, with this program, you could go in there and say, if I wanted to fix, it kind of gives you an evaluation of your asset, because the roads are your assets. If you have nice roads in your county, it kind of draws people in. It is an asset. So you can put in this to find out how much it would cost if I just had a blank check to go through and repair every road in the county. It lets you know how much your road infrastructure really costs at that time.
Okay, sorry, I just on that, if you have more on that, I don't want to interrupt you, I want to ask another question. So, like he said, if it gets, if it gets repaired, then that goes hopefully to green, but at that point, is that something that's also like, is that something that the county would get the cameras and or the sensors or whatever and like upgrade all that, or would that be a thing where it's like we call up Carter to come out and do it?
I'm gonna run the sensor. If you pave a road, it's brand new. It's
So you
100.
go in there and click on
No,
it,
no, I
turn
don't
it
mean
green.
I mean, okay, so
But you
5
put
years.
one repair. Oh, 5 years?
Yeah, 5 years. I mean, after you go in and click it, great, we got that, if we can go in and fix that. But in 5 years, if you're saying that's the normal 10 years, whatever it is, do we have to call y'all to do it again? Or is it something that they're trained on also and they get the equipment and they do it?
Those are both options that we could work with.
There comes, we're on,
Those are both options.
we're projected, if we can get the weather and it quit raining, golly, it's rained for 4 months, right? But we're on track to do close to 200 miles my first term. And that's a quarter, it's 25% of the county roads. Let's say we're fortunate enough to do that next term. The thing of it is that we're shooting with our proper procedure on life cycles that last 15 plus years, and we're doing everything we can to where we can get that savings, because the longer the road lasts on its recycle, the cheaper it is for the county. So I don't ever see a situation where in the next 5 plus years we do all 800 miles of road. It may be something that 6, 7 years down the road, I have them do a section to update, because there's a section that it's where it's went from, say, a 60 percentile road to a 30. And that might be even something I can go in and update, because I'm riding the roads as well. And so from our standpoint, while we're paving roads, it's an easy update. I'm turning them green because they just got paved and they're a good road. And Jamie, you made a good point about, the roads that got washed out. We had 6 of them washed out. It looked like the Lord just took the road and set it over in a cornfield, right? Well, they got fixed the next week. And so it was no update, no nothing. It was a have to case. We had to go in and fix it. So.
That makes sense. So, I'm sorry.
I was going to answer your question a little bit more with what he just said. So as they get trained up on the system and they're paving roads, going in the office, turning them green, or doing it on their phone, whatever, turn them green, they're actively updating the system to where hopefully you don't ever have to do another LiDAR scan of all the roads. But if it ever got to the point where if they got behind, they're like, okay, it's gotten way out of hand, we didn't have time to do anything, there was a catastrophic event, we need to reevaluate, it's been 10 years, then you would probably go start over square one. But hopefully they keep up with it and they update all the colors and yeah.
Okay, because I remember one time when I was a teenager, I went in and got the only time I ever paid for my brakes here. They started doing the rest of the time, but I went in to get a brake job, and it was like the guy ended up selling me a swimming pool or trying to, basically. And so I just want to make sure that we're super, super cautious, because we won't always be, I'll get voted out, all of us will get voted out or not run again. And there will be another commission in, and it will be at the will of the people that votes on them. But if they're left with this, I want to make sure that it's not something that brings more of a, oh, we've got to, look how red this road is. You know what I mean? And it's like you said, there are 1 or 2 houses, but, I can just see that being used against the taxpayer eventually. And I'm worried about that, like, it's inside, like, worried about that. I love the safety picture. I love the ability. I think Mr. Ellis is doing a tremendous job, like, maybe best superintendent ever, on quality of road. I love it. I've heard great things, but I'm just saying, I don't want to ever forget that this is not me changing the brick color of my house. This is somebody else's money. And I'm really, really cautious on that, because it just seems like that yes, this is a state aid this is a situation where there's a grant or a fund for it, where we get it for less. But then I get worried, I mean, you may be able to answer this, but like, how many other people provide this service? What happens if you go out of business? What happens, are we able to even legally do it without like a 3-bid, or a multiple bid process? Like, I just don't
We're
know.
buying the software though. We're buying the whole package.
I understand, but are we able to do that as a government entity without that going up for open bid? I don't know what's legal, and you can help me with all that, but there's a lot of questions there.
So the way that plan is structured to get to it is through the safety action plan. So once, Mr. Elson applied, should he get awarded, it does have to go out to bid, or it has to go for RFP, you have to put it out. So others are going to have opportunities to bid on it. So you'll receive our information as far as, hey, we're interested in this solicitation to work with Sumner County on this action plan. This is structured to be this is the supplemental part of an action plan. So are you guys familiar with the SS4A? Okay, so you understand that there's supplemental, the demonstration, all the different grants that come into it. So we're doing a 2-in-1 to where it's a supplement. We're requesting funds for the action plan itself, and then also funding for this, because not only do you get PCI, you also get signs, you get striping, and you get guardrail. It's just not on this demonstration, but you'll know where every sign is, condition of the sign. You know all your striping and the condition of the striping as far as the retroreflectivity. In the guardrail, you know every section where it's at, and we're able to look at the end treatments for safety. So all of that feeds in and then supports the action plan. So it provides additional data. So there'll be a section in that action plan that has to reference this data being collected, how it supports the action plan and what it does. So that's so all of this is being bundled into one package. So it will go out for bid. It does have to be approved and, whatever consultant you select. We've done, I think, I manage them all. I manage the action plan, I manage this, that's what I do. And we're on our 10th one now. So, we've had these conversations with many because it's questions, and it seems like a lot of money at the start and at the front end. But when you look at it, if you take these two put together, you're looking, like I said, it's 320 on a PCI and all that data, including the guardrail signs and everything. Action plan is 175. You're almost at $600,000 is the actual cost of it, and you're able to do it for 120.
Okay, so that's very helpful. So if you've done 10-ish, what are the top 3 questions that I need to ask that I don't know I'm supposed to ask, that are like not just to sell me on it, but that's going to sell them on it? What are the ones that are like, man, well, he didn't know to ask that, but that would actually make a movement for the people that understand what's going on and the folks at home.
So, like in support of this.
What are reasons not to get it? I guess is what I asked. And what are reasons to get it? Like, give me your.
He's only here to tell us about.
I know.
What we should do.
But for me to be a happy spender of the people's money, I want to make sure that we, just for my vote, that's what I'd like to know. Why not? Why would I not do it?
I cannot think of a reason not to do it. And this is why, because it's centered around safety. If everything is about safety, how can I stand here and say, hey, I want to do it, even though the whole main purpose, driving factor of this is safety, reducing accidents. That is the main goal of this SS4A, getting this supplemental data. Being able to use it how Mr. Ellis can use it is like an added bonus, but it's safety driven to get data to make Sumner County roads safer. So I can't think of an argument against something that is safety driven. That's all.
I want to see more if you've got more. So I understand the basics of how it works and what it's picking up. But if there's anything key that we haven't seen or we need to see, please share.
But I've taken a lot of your time as it is. I appreciate you offering me more, but I'll just basically design this. You pretty much get.
I get it. I understand.
Like the Google and everything else. If you understand it, you're able to see what it what it is,
You
how it
can-
can be used.
You can literally drive the roads, you can click on the road and drive it, and what it would do, if we had this, it would hook up to our GIS, and it'd be all the county roads, and y'all would be able to go on our website and click on the road, look at the ratings, and then look at Toby's list for the next year, year and a half, and see Toby is doing the worst roads in the county first. There's no political scene here, it's just, we're doing the worst roads. It's full transparency, and then I can sit there and go, well, over there on, Mount Vernon Road at mile marker 1, there's a curve ahead sign, and it needs to be replaced. We can pull it up, I can send the coordinates out to my sign man, he can go out there and replace it. He doesn't have to ride the whole road and look for it, he knows exactly what sign to fix, we know which guardrail section, where the repairs are at. It's a very, as far as from my standpoint, it saves a lot of time. It pays for itself.
Go ahead, Commissioner Holmes.
I'm not sure, probably either one of you can answer this. Okay, so you're fixing the roads. Is there a report, and I'm sure that there probably is, that you want to know for this 6 months what you've gone in and fixed? Does it keep a running tab?
I was gonna ask a similar question.
Of what you've done?
Well, I'd like to see, on top of that, similarly, like, can you put in a date and see what it was 6 months ago versus what it is now? If I wanted to go back and see what has been done.
Yeah, well, that's my question.
Same thing, yeah.
Answer to ask that.
Even if it's not a report, but if it's something you can click on and go look at.
Sure.
You could generate a report from it.
Sure.
Because those are all great questions, because when it comes to FEMA, they want to know all that information. They want to see the maintenance of the road, they want to see the sign that you've been doing the work, and all that historical data will be stored in this platform, be able to access.
But you can,
You click a date.
and it can give you this week we did this, or this month,
If you
whatever.
click 2024, and I want to know what we did in July, you can see what was done in 2024 in July.
Okay.
I just think
That's something
helpful
committee
for
could
you,
ask
helpful
for
me.
and have the report generated either automatically or by the superintendent.
Yeah.
Tony, you touched bases on retroreflectivity. Is this going off your thermoplastic versus your signage? What was that you was referring that to?
Well, I don't know how much thermal is in the county compared to just paint, but it is looking at the retroreflectivity of whatever marking is down. So if it is thermal, then it's looking at that. The signs is looking at the reflectivity of the sign.
So in other words, if we got turn lanes, channel lanes or whatnot, and it's starting to wear, it's going to pick that up.
Correct.
Okay.
So in this,
In case you guys don't know, this is the thermoplastic, what they put down for the striping. So that would pick that up as
it'll
well.
pick it up, and that's something that we use in our data. So to that action plan, the biggest amount, the most accidents are lane departures. So now we'll be able to go through, after gathering this data, know all the roads that, hey, this has a lot of lane departures, and the reflectivity score of the white line is tanked. There's a problem here. So
I see-
this might
I see
be
it
a
all over
safety
the place,
improvement. Let's try adding striping, let's try adding this, and reduce the lane departures.
Or there's signs there, but it's not picking up the retroreflective. It's not there because the sign's been bent or twisted, or it's not even in the right place, and we need to change it to make it more seeable to the driver.
You'll see
Something
that a
like
lot for curbs,
Yeah.
where the curb ahead sign isn't that,
Yeah.
and next thing they don't slow down, they're going, yes, sir.
What happens if you go away? What happens if you go bankrupt? Like,
We're
if the
still
company's
on
no
it.
longer-
We're still on
It's
software.
your data.
But I mean, how do we, are we able to update that still without any at all involved? There's no maintenance fee, there's no anything?
We'll be in business 20 years from now, and you still won't need us to do what you need. That's what we're going to do. We're going to show you.
So we don't pay a monthly fee still?
No, sir.
Let me explain it like this, so if I'm right. It's like,
I like
you get Microsoft and you get an Excel package. Now I can do everything I want with Excel. I can manipulate data, I can filter and sort data. I can do it forever. Now, upgrades may come along, and you may never have to upgrade or something, but you still got what you bought and it doesn't expire, and you can use that Excel as long as you want to use it. As long as he's doing the updates, you don't need the guy in the truck and the LiDAR anymore. That's the option for the future.
That was my biggest, that was one of my big worries.
Yeah, at the beginning, but I understand how it is now. I get it. Guys, do we have any more questions from the table? Do you have any more things you want to show us that would help us to understand it more than what we get right now?
I feel
Think we understand.
good understanding of what it is and how protection plan.
I might have one question. Fog seal. Can you explain that to
Oh,
us?
yeah, I've never heard that one.
Fog
seal. What's
Okay.
fog seal?
So fog seal is a preventive maintenance. As we're putting together your repair, as I showed you in this decision-making tree. So you can see fog seal is under pavement scores between 70 and 80. What we're saying at that point is that is the best time to go fog seal your road, and that will bring the PCI up and extend the life of the road. It's basically a conditioner. Think of conditioner, works your hair. It just adds treatment to that pavement, brings back the elasticity.
It's a maintenance. It's a maintenance to prolong it's something that we do to prolong to where we get to paving, okay? And the things that we are fixing are so bad, they're beyond that.
Are you putting fog seal on our roads now?
No, and they're so bad.
They're beyond.
Fog seal is not gonna help them.
How do you seal something from fog?
It's like when I did paving for the state, we would fog seal the shoulders, and it's like a petroleum product
That you spray on the
like
road,
asphalt, and you spray
like when
it,
you're
it's like a
driving.
sealer, and it protects the road.
No, that's what I'm thinking he's doing, sealing it from fog, but.
No, it's just
It just
a feeling
adds a little bit more shelf
solution.
life to the
And it makes
to the
somewhat that's not a terrible rating, just lasts a little longer before you can pave it. Gives you, it buys you time.
You're fogging something with a sealant.
It's a light spray, and that's where they come up with fog seal.
Spray sealant, okay, got it. It ain't fog seal, it's a spray seal.
I was like, well, that's
Got
it.
Very literal on the terminology. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, the only time I've heard of fog is for bugs, roaches, and fleas and stuff, or literal fog. So I get it.
So, but that's where your fog seal as a preventive maintenance extend the life of your road. So if you look at the deterioration curve, it'll fall off. You fog seal kind of brings it up a bump again and runs it out. So, a road that might be 30 years, you fog seal, you probably get 40, 45 on it.
To answer your question.
Oh, I knew. I was just
You just enjoyed that conversation. All right, well, Sophie, you okay with it? Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Commissioner,
Sharing
appreciate
with
your
us.
time.
This is already in front of legislative, I think, and hopefully those members watch this and get the answers that they may have had.
Well,
Or you plan on coming back with
What we're doing is, Aaron Anderton, I can't hardly say his last name. Anderton, yeah. And what we had met about is just applying for the grant, and that's all we're doing at this time. It'll be a few months down the road before we even know if we get this.
But is he coming back for legislative, or we to instruct our fellow commissioners to watch this?
I feel like once we get to that point, if we do get the grant, I'm sure I can get Tony to come to talk to legislative.
Well, nonetheless, if any of you know anybody, or if you're on legislative, just encourage them to, down there. Just encourage them to tune in on this and maybe get some answers before any of the other committees have to see this. But yeah, I know they gave approval to seek the grant now. Okay, you're still up. Yeah.
All right, and then I did bring, I emailed it to all of you. It's we made some changes on our department personnel policy. I sent that all out to y'all. Plus, we made a copy of it. I didn't bring anything to show the corrections. I just ran out of time. But I will say this, Steve and Eric has looked over it, and it's mainly verbiage. There's no low-hanging fruit on it. It's just putting ourselves, basically the same things that we looked at the sheriff's policy. We looked at all of them, to be honest with you, and we wanted ours to be more in line with what they had in their policies.
Guys, this is not an action item. They've already looked at it. It's going up to legislative, correct?
It's just for docketing purposes, yes.
So it'll go legislative and it'll go to full commission to adopt, but I would encourage to try to get the other one to compare it to, because I've already had somebody from budget and legislative, reach out to ask me for that. So I know it's our job to ask those questions here, so that gives them a week's notice to be able to look at it. So if you can get that, if you get it early enough, please email it to the full commission, and perhaps they can look at it between now and that next committee meeting, legislative with the full commission. But yeah, there's no action on here.
I just had one question about that.
Yeah.
Is that appropriate?
About what this?
Just about this.
Sure.
Just want to see, because I know that I'll get the question from some folks for sure. Is it negligible? I'm sure there's a little difference, but is it really much any change associated with maintenance of effort? If this is,
I don't think
Don't
it's
have anything to
budget
do with
or
it.
anything.
I didn't
There's
know.
no budget items in it.
But when you put PTO and stuff, I
Yeah,
just want to make sure
yeah,
there's
no.
nothing, because somebody will ask me that, and I don't want to not have the answer. Appreciate that.
All right, thank you for saying to do that. And that brings us to report of the county mayor.
Gotta go.
Oh, he's done? He's
Yeah,
done?
he said he had to leave.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
I didn't think he was going to be here tonight just because of his family. I believe.
Next item would be, if anybody wants to motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
We'll meet right back up, guys.
5 minutes.
A couple minutes. I mean, everybody want to come on?
When does it start?
It starts at 5.
So we're 30 minutes behind.
Yeah, we're going to start back in a minute.
Say 6:30. Like,
Yeah. 5:30.
5:30.
Hey, y'all, we'll try to get 5:30.
ATMS at 5:30.
I mean, no, I do it when I send out the agenda, I send them minutes, so that's what.
Oh, hey.
I send them at the same time and I separate them so they can put them in a different section. He doesn't.
So is this 300, right?
No.
When he comes, he gets 100. Okay.
Yeah, like, when I come, I get.
The only way we'd ever miss this is if I wasn't here in the meeting or something like that.
Right, and I get, you know.
Okay. Get some of mine. Hey, oh, yeah. Is that always me? Nothing to do about that? Oh, yeah.
It's been long enough. They've been working on problems.
I don't believe so. I got something so late I didn't print it out. You got sent to me.
Can you send what you send? Yeah, because. So it reads it like. Yeah, I can. That's fine.
Well, I know you would when you get time.
Yeah.
You guys did a good job on that.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm telling you, I hate with this. Everything we've started on,
Come back up, yep. That's my yard.
I would have been if we got started.
Oh, just living the dream.